The journey of cosmic sex is simply about love.
There's something in your life that you feel excited about. That's orgasmic. You're just not putting that energy all across your whole life and your whole world.
You can experience cosmic orgasm. You are not broken. The orgasm is beyond touch. The orgasm is about energy. It's about the alignment of you and your source and your soul.
I am Danielle Bolton. I am the Illuminatrix. I live on the big island of Hawaii. I am a mentor for people expanding consciousness through plant and psychedelic medicine.
How did you find cosmic sexuality?
I found Victoria and Shalom first. Their energy just pulled me in through the interwebs, and I had been kind of circling around with them for a little while first, checking them out, checking out what they were doing, and of course, cosmic sexuality. Who wouldn't be interested hearing something like that? And just following their work, wanting to get to know more about them. I truly wanted to be in their energy. I have a great fascination with couples and people who are in union, doing things together and creating things in the world. And so I wanted to see what they were doing and what they were into. And when I had the opportunity to come to Cosmic Sexuality Retreat last summer, I knew that I had to be there.
You share your experience of experiencing the cosmic orgasm from the guidance at the retreat done by Victoria and Shalom?
Yes, absolutely. When I made the decision to go to the Cosmic Sexuality Retreat last summer, I knew that it was a pivotal decision. And my driving force was to be with Shalom and Victoria in person. I wanted to be around a very powerful, in-tune couple that was doing really beautiful things for the world. That's my biggest dream for myself, to be in union with someone and be creating on the ultimate level together in a way that serves people. And that's what led me to go to the retreat. I had no idea what to expect. I literally went into it completely blind. I didn't know anybody in the community. I went alone. I had no idea if there was going to be men there, women, couples, my future partner. I just had so much excitement, and it had been a long time since I was entering into somebody else's space. I find myself in the position to be guiding or leading or hosting. So it felt really, really exciting to go receive this experience with them. And when I arrived, it was beautiful. The people that I met, it was a small, intimate group of very interesting people. There were some couples there, some single women there. And the experience began from the moment I met Shalom and Victoria. I felt the energy. I knew I was there for something big. I knew that I was there for a new moment, a new level, a new type of alignment for my life. And some of the things that stood out for me the most was it was exciting to be in the space and have no idea what was going to happen. I understood some of the foundations of cosmic sexuality. I had read some of the books. I had been following their work for a while, but I was still in the unknown. And I think for me, being in the space of just available to whatever was going to happen for me there is probably what made the experience so profound. I think sometimes, especially people who are on their path of spiritual development, self-enlightenment, we're always trying to understand, we're always trying to figure things out. And this experience allowed me to really be in the receivership position, to just go and take a look at and be available for what source was going to channel through all of us and myself as an individual. And I had a great time with the clearings that we did, the other aspects of cosmic sexuality, and it felt very real for me. I was able to drop very deeply into the meditations, all of the particular parts of the cosmic sexuality process. It all felt like it was leading me up to the ultimate moment of being arrived at where I wanted to go next. And so the day that we actually had one of our workshops and we were preparing to go through the breathing exercises for the cosmic orgasmic, procedure or experience, I literally thought we were going to just be doing some guided meditation with some breathing. We were in a hotel conference room at a table, fully clothed, and Victoria began to lead us, and it was gentle. Everyone had their eyes closed. We were breathing, we were focusing. They invited us to bring our guides in, and I have a very beautiful, strong connection with my own personal guides. And my guides were very excited to be in the space, and everyone just was breathing and there for the experience. And I started to feel energy in my body. And like I said, I didn't know what to expect, so I was just fully present with it. I had zero attachment to it. I just allowed the energy to be with me in my body. And as Victoria calmly guided us through the meditation, through the body, I felt the energy growing. And it was stimulating. It was sensual, yet not sexual, yet a sexual energy, but it felt very appropriate and very meant to be in the moment. I wasn't afraid of it. It felt like it was supposed to be happening. And as the energy began to build, I just felt a lot of bliss in my body. I felt a very gentle warmth in my body. I didn't feel any fear. I didn't feel any shame. Maybe for a moment's thought, I considered my surroundings, being in a room, but I knew that I was safe. I knew I was protected. I knew that that's why all of us were there. And I felt like I could have whatever experience was coming for me. And so it turned into what felt like waves on my body. Again, it was so gentle. It was so beautiful. And it felt so incredibly big beyond me. It felt like there was a presence, like a godlike presence, universal presence, the community that I was surrounded, Shalom and Victoria's presence, their energy. And it felt like it was taking me somewhere. And it didn't feel like a traditional peak of a sexually stimulated orgasm. It just felt like it had this power to grow me and to expand me and to connect me with something. And when you're having a physical sexual orgasm from stimulation, there's this peak and there's this moment where time stands still, but the energy is very focused because it's so much in our bodies. And this definitely had that feeling of time standing still, but it felt like an infinite realm, that it was just everything available to me. I felt so incredibly powerful while sitting there doing absolutely nothing except for receiving what was meant for me. And that, for me as a woman, to be fully in my feminine energy and to feel that blessing and that bliss and that alignment with everything that was possible, was one of the most beautiful moments of my life. And I was so happy. I'm always trying so hard in my life to understand myself, to do the best that I can, to evolve myself, to grow myself. And I often, like many people, think that there's so many things that I have to do to make the experiences happen. And that was one of the strongest moments for me, where I felt just held, supported, and just really so good. I felt so good. And so I just wrote it out, and it felt like bliss. It felt like sexual union with the divine. It felt like the moment for me.
Please introduce yourself.
My name is Rick Leibarger. I work as a financial planner for the last 25 years in the corporate world. I have worked. Through that, I've had lots of successes as a financial planner, and I've had something that I felt was always missing from my life. It was a lack of feeling self and a lack of self-worth. Even though I had success and was making money, there was something that was missing. And for the longest time, I buried it in alcohol, in things that would distract me from finding out that true self. My story is a journey of a phoenix rising from ashes, wanting to heal like I want to breathe. The journey begins with a healing of the soul, a healing of self. The journey is about learning to love myself, learning to trust myself, feeling worthy, and giving gratitude for all that is, the good and the bad. They teach us both. Frankly, we probably learn more from our darkness and from the bad things that happen to us and the hard things that happen to us, the challenges, than we do from everything being easy. I'm a father of 3 kids. I can tell you that my journey has enriched not only my life, but the journey that I've had with my children. I have deeper connections to them, to family, to coworkers, and to friends. I want to share something that's been very personal for me, and personal because it was about my sexual abuse. Recently heard some statistics that say 1 out of every 6 men is sexually abused. Men. And that it takes an average of 24 years for a man to even address that issue. And the average age for abuse is about 11 and a half years old. After I was sexually abused, I became very shameful about sex, about how it made me feel. But at the same time, I was very determined to choose to heal from that. What I did was I ended up sleeping with a lot of women. It became my own way of showing love. And it was a way to control that love and not be hurt. As I've grown as a man through being able to express and release that abuse from my life, it took a hard time to even be able to mumble these words. I'm having trouble with mumble. It was hard to mumble, to say, to speak that I was sexually abused because it carried with it so much shame. Even to a therapist in a private session, I couldn't speak it because that showed that I was vulnerable and that I was weak, that I had been abused. Couldn't be anything further from the truth. As I've had my own kids and I've looked at their young ages and their innocence, I realized that I had to give myself a little bit of a break and not be so hard on myself. As I started that journey of my healing and made peace with it, one of the things that helped me make peace with it was just being able to talk about it and not feel like I was being judged. I came across cosmic sexuality because I was having trouble expressing and feeling intimate. I realized that sleeping with lots of women was not the answer to happiness, and that actually connecting with a partner, connecting with intimacy, feeling love, eye gazing, feeling that energy, knowing that you're in the exact same space was a far more enriching experience than a one-night stand. I started down the path of cosmic sexuality about 3 years ago, and I couldn't finish. So these realizations that I'm sharing with you right now actually came within the last year of my life. I knew that there was more to experience. I was ready for love. I was ready for intimacy on levels that I've never experienced before in my life. And it's, one of the reasons why we're here on this earth is to experience love with another and to share intimacy. I went down this path again with Shalom and Victoria through cosmic sexuality. And I knew that I really wanted to heal as much as I wanted to breathe.
The cosmic orgasm for me is deep alignment with source energy, all that is. God is everything in existence, the most highest of high, El Elyon. It is nothing like it I've ever experienced. A lot of people try to compare it to like a full body orgasm. And we always explain that if someone's having a full body orgasm and they're shaking and convulsing, the person next to you necessarily or your partner doesn't experience that with you. That is your thing happening, and that's valid. But the cosmic orgasm is always an experience that you and whoever's around will experience it at that moment. It is a massive alignment, and it is something that is our birthright. It is not like anything else. For me, the cosmic orgasm changed my life because as a man, I didn't know I can orgasm separate from ejaculation. I didn't know that ejaculation was not the orgasm. So being able to experience this orgasm, like my partner, like Victoria, where I'm shaking and convulsing and I'm coming into this deep ejaculation of massive alignment, energy, and bliss, and divinity, and pleasure, and sensuality, and sexuality. It rewrote everything in my life from an experience of what's real, what is sustainable, what is constant.
Give us one word to describe cosmic sexuality.
The one word that I would give to describe cosmic sexuality is surrender. The word surrender itself has many components built into it. It has trust built into it. It has release built into it. It has expansion built into it. Every time that we're going through a transformation on our path, whether it's physically, whether it's spiritually, you are surrendering to that moment of change. You must go deep into it and trust that moment to get to your next moment. And if you're unable to go deep into that moment and to surrender any beliefs, any limitations, you cannot expand into the next moment. And we're always constantly surrendering to things. And when we look at it from the perspective of, I'm not submitting to this, I'm not being forced into this moment, but instead I'm surrendering into it so I can go into the next. But when we try to force it against it, that's the difference between surrender and submission. You always want to be in this place of unfolding to go into your highest, and that requires very deep surrendering and trust to the source within you. And when you come to the practice of cosmic sexuality, you're releasing all of your previous limitations to go into this embodied state with yourself and your lover. And that involves surrendering to each other, surrendering to yourself, surrendering to your heart, surrendering to your mind, to be able to come to this place together in union and oneness.
What is a cosmic orgasm like for you?
The first time I had a cosmic orgasm, it was an experience that I was coming into alignment with. It was an activation. It was a portal that I was moving through to go deeper into myself in connection with my partner, Shalom. But now the cosmic orgasm has changed for me and blossomed for me. And every time I have a cosmic orgasm now, it's a reminder of the deepness and the vastness of all of myself. And it's an expansion of the cosmic energy. It's every time I have this cosmic orgasmic alignment, I'm going deeper into the seat of my soul, into my pleasure, into my bliss, into my knowing, into my divinity, into my goddess self, into my goddesshood, into my priestesshood. So it has become this thing that I understand so deeply as my birthright because it's unfolding every layer of me every time I go deeper into this experience. So the cosmic orgasm is an activation into who you are as goddess. It is an activation into the full alignment of self with source and a lover. And of course, the orgasmic experience will always start with you. So whenever I have this moment of cosmic orgasmic alignment, the energy, it slows down time when you're in this space with your lover. And this is important because when you're slowing down time, the encoding that's happening there is so deep that it sees something so far in the future of your path that you don't even realize at that moment. But it's unfolding you, it's blossoming you. Even when you think about a flower blooming, that flower doesn't bloom right away. It starts to open and becomes more and more unwound until you see the fullness of the flower. And that is what the cosmic orgasmic alignment does. That is what the cosmic orgasm does for each and every woman. It's unflowering you and unfolding you into this deep space of divinity with yourself, with source, and with your lover. And the experience itself was so hard for me to put into words for so long because I had to understand what actually was happening. And because it is beyond the body, is not something that you can quantify with the mind. It's not like a local orgasm where you go, oh, I felt my pleasure. I want to play around with that energy and see how far I can go into that, because that's very local and fleeting. But when you have this cosmic orgasm, it shakes everything inside of you. It moves everything inside of you. You're literally moving your own life force energy and you're expanding it. Just like how the physical body changes, our inner being changes as well. We are going from the physical body to this energetic existence. And how do we get there? We get there by focusing inward, by growing that aspect of our body, so that when we do leave the body, that we've spent time focusing inward, where we have this new energetic fabric when we go beyond here that you don't forget, that remains with you. And that's what you're connecting to in the cosmic orgasm. In that moment, you're connecting to that existence. You're tethered here in the moment with your lover, but you're also with the cosmos, you're with source, you're with all of yourselves, your higher selves, you're with every aspect of your being. And it's just such a pure moment of just being present and receiving and unfolding.